Module 1, investing in notes, my favorite subject. What I want everybody to do with this is to really keep an open mind with all of the information that Kevin and I are going to share with you. It's going to be kind of contrary to what you've been taught in school about going out and getting a good job and getting a getting a high paying job and taking orders from a boss and showing up 40, 50, sometimes 60 hours a week. It's it's a funny thing to be able to do the note business and make big chunks of money while you're basically just making phone calls. That to me alone has been such a huge thing. So that's going to be going totally against the grain of what your formal education was, where you're working for dollars, um, hours for dollars, trading your life basically for dollars to make your boss rich. Um, Tonight we're going to be talking a lot about your mindset, how you're coming into this program. You're coming in skeptical, I'm sure, not believing that the note business is going to be the right place for you. But between Kevin and I, we can assure you that you're in the right place. Kevin, what do you have to say about that as well?
Yeah, this would be, uh, as you said, changing your mindset from your traditional 40-hour week job, working for somebody else, and taking orders from them. This is actually how to, in a way, get into business for yourself. You don't have to start up a business and spend money starting up the business other than the assets that you would be acquiring. But it's a way for you to take control of your life and your world and be your own boss. Um, I like to know business because I don't have to be in any specific place. All I need is my cell phone and my laptop or iPad, and I can do my job, or I can operate my business. It's that freedom that this allows you to have.
Great, great. And I guess I've been doing a lot of uh, soul searching, if you will, kind of thinking back to the day that I was introduced to the note business. It really went against everything that I was taught in school, that the numbers are just too good to be true, and they still are to this day. I still am trying to grasp some of the discounts that are available out there in the note business and the amount of money that can be made, whether you're working the notes or brokering the notes or buying the notes and flipping them out to other investors. It's just huge. Um, so please just keep an open mind and just let us take you on this journey on the note investing business. And I am sure that you'll be happy with the end result, which is having you become a very successful note investor. And another thing about success is we expect 100% success ratio on this program, and we are not going to take anything less than that. Everyone that is in our program will come out successful. And I guess the first thing we need to do is define successful. You will have, at the end of this 9-month program, you will have enough information to go out and successfully close deals on whatever aspect of this training that you decide to partake. We'll be going through the actual modules later on in the call to show you exactly what we're going to be covering in the next 9 months. It's going to be quite a journey. We are going to travel every facet of this business that we can imagine and what we've come across in the last 6 years of note investing, so that we'll leave no stone unturned. And there's no way that a 4-day boot camp or whatever other people are offering out there can compare to the amount of information that we're going to cover. Kevin and I and Mark all learned this business the same way at the same time. We were on webinars exactly like this. We weren't covering specific modules. We think that we can focus in a lot better by covering specific modules, but we were on these conference calls bi-weekly, going through each of our deals and learning basically all 14 of these modules spread out over, it was almost a 1 year period that we were going through conference calls. So we were able to live the business. We were talking about it when we weren't on the conference calls. We were assembling. We were having our own sub conference calls, if you will, to discuss our next steps that we were going to take. It was a great learning experience, and it was a journey that we all traveled together. And we're going to duplicate that training process for everyone here on the call tonight. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of effort, but it will be worth it. And Kevin, I'm sure you think back to the days that we were on our first conference calls, learning this business and enjoying each other's company and sharing each other's ideas.
Sure, that was a great camaraderie order in getting on the calls, and as we were learning about the business, also learning about other people's experiences as they were sharing with everyone on the calls what they were going through and the workouts that were being presented for each one of those issues, so that we could kind of catalog that and say, even though we weren't having that particular problem or issue, it's something we could think about, and then later we go, oh, hey, I remember that now. I know what to do. It's that sharing of the ideas that we learned here as we were all learning this business together.
Right, right. And another thing that I find, and I still find to this day, invaluable is being able to go back to those recordings. And even though the recordings were not as organized as our recordings are going to be, we had to remember that it was call 14 that we talked about. Some parts of it were bankruptcy, and call 20, 11 or 21, or had this particular aspect or that particular aspect. Our recordings are going to be much more structured so that you can dial into call number 8 and go through the bankruptcy issues. And I would put on my headset and listen to those recordings, and it would sink in. I still listen to this day. So we are going to be recording all of these modules for you, all of our question and answer sessions that we're going to have after the actual modules have been covered. So you will be able to go back and reflect on the information that was shared, because there is just so much information. It's I've heard the expression drinking from a fire hose. It's going to be that much information, but we're going to spread it out over the next 9 months to let it really absorb and give you a chance to really dive in and use the information to your success. All right, so this takes us to the what I would call the average investor when we go out to the RIA meetings, and people that are just there waiting, hoping to find a deal, hoping to find a partner that's got a deal that they can bring to the table. It's easy. It's kind of a lazy approach. This business, we need to attack this aggressively. So the average investor are going to get average type of returns. We like to think of ourselves as not average, but much more aggressive, much more educated, and we don't sit around and wait for a deal to happen. I'm sure that Kevin, when we went into this, I would label myself before I got into the note business as an average investor, and I was just out looking at average real estate on houses down the street from me and around the block, and I was not attacking it the way what I would call a professional investor would do it. And Kevin, I guess you kind of would think of yourself that same way, or how would you categorize that?
I kind of concur. When back even before I got into the note business and wanted to get involved in real estate, I used to think that my road to riches in real estate was owning rental properties. As many rental properties as I could own, and sit back and collect the rents and eventually be fat, dumb, and happy. With that, um, rental properties come with headaches, tenants, toilets, and turnover. And once I got involved in the note business, I'm like, you know, this is a no-brainer to get involved into this business. It's much better than actually owning the real estate, because with the real estate, you're busy running around chasing deals. You have to physically drive around and go look at these properties. Um, take time out of your life to go find a realtor and an attorney, and it can just wear you out, or chasing dead leads.
Yeah, that's for sure. With the professional investor, I sincerely think the difference is because of our education. We've been able to take our education, apply it, and I've been able to create deals that just weren't there an hour before because I just saw a path to get a deal going. Like a quick example of that would be find a note investor who's having trouble with their notes and not have to come out of pocket to buy that note investor's notes, but just whittle out a deal with him or her to say, listen, for 20% of the income that I generate from those notes, I'll go ahead and help you work them. And so I've done that. I've done that several times. I have 20 notes that I do that for right now, that I receive a 20% cut of every dime that comes in on those notes. It didn't cost me anything to get into that deal other than some laptop time to research the deals that they had purchased. And that was strictly a deal that was struck out of thin air. So I'm confident that everyone that is going to go through this course will have the ability to create deals out of thin air. That's an important aspect, especially when you go out to your local RIA meetings and start talking to people about this business. They're going to want to know as much as you do about the note business, but obviously they're not going to have the time or the ambition to go through the process that you're going through as someone going through our calls. And it'll give you the opportunity to create deals with other investors that just weren't there until you walked into the room. That's huge, and that in itself is going to be worth going through this program with us. Just to have the confidence to walk up and say, "Hey, I know about the note business. I'd like to take you to the next level. Let's get involved." There's a lot of people out there with money that want to go ahead and get into this business, but they just don't know how, don't know where. And that will be our students, some serious investors that can take them down the road to get them into this business. That alone to see a deal that no one else can see is going to take, as far as maybe it's an exit strategy on a note that you purchased, that other people think that. I remember on our conference calls that we had, some of the notes and some of the deals that we were working had been passed down through 6 or 7 generations. So what I mean by that is, I ended up with a note that I purchased that had gone through 5 other investors and the note originator before it landed in my lap. And I turned that into a win. I ended up doubling my money on that deal. And it was brought up on one of the conference calls that because of our education, we were able to take a deal that 6 other banks and investors could not close and get money out of that deal. We were able to. So that's the same type of thing that we need to pass on to our students. It's the ability to see a deal that no one else can recognize. And Kevin, I know you've done many deals like that as well, where it seemed like there was no hope, and Mark as well, where there was just no hope, and you were able to turn it around and create a win-win for the borrower and for you as an investor many times. So maybe you can share something with that with us as well.
Yeah, exactly. Um, sometimes people's hands are tied, or as Mike had said, some investors um, don't know what to do other than say foreclose if they have a note. But there are a lot of ways to turn that around into a win-win situation, um, a win for the homeowner and a win for you, and a huge win for you. Um, I turned around many deals that would have gone south, deals that other people either had um, no ambition or inkling to work, or they didn't know what to do with it. And so I took that and turned that around into a huge win for myself. And I still have many of those deals in my portfolio.
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be the difference between what we would like to think is an average investor and a professional investor is to be able to go out and make a deal out of thin air, and that's our mission. Breaking old habits and barriers. There are many people on this conference call, myself included, that came into this business with a mindset that the only way I really remember having this conversation when someone was telling me about the note business was if I'm not over there swinging a hammer and fixing a house, I don't see how there could be money to be made. I just couldn't see it. And that's just because of our previous experiences, our previous training, our previous conversations that we've had, and our lessons that we learned in school that if you're not producing and working as hard as you can, you just can't make money at it. And it's just the opposite is so true. There is a ton of money to be made in this business, and you don't need to get your hands dirty. It is work. There is going to be time and effort and stress. There's no free lunch out there, but the rewards are much more rewarding when there is a payoff in this business than when you receive a paycheck or if you're out rehabbing houses. You have to work so hard to. It's just completely different mindset of getting into this business. It took me a year and a half maybe to adjust to the fact that the banks were so willing to leave so much money on the table. It was just staggering. And now we're buying the notes even cheaper than when we had started, which means that there's even more money on the table for us. So I consider that an old habit of mine was trading dollars for hours or hours for dollars, and that's the only way that I could work. And I was in manufacturing since 1978, and if I worked overtime, I got paid. But now I have borrowers that owe me all over the country. Some owe me 50,000, 70,000, 80,000, 100,000, 40,000, 20,000. These people owe a lot of money, and I just couldn't believe that I could actually own this much debt and enjoy the monthly payments that come in. And those were barriers that I had to knock down inside my own mind. And that's where we're going to take you on this journey as well, is to knock down those barriers and just break down the education that's been pumped into my head and yours about how the harder you work, the more money you make. That's my experience anyway.
A job, it means just over broke.
Yeah.
So like you, before this, I would have never thought in my wildest dream that I could buy loans from the lender, own loans that the lender created. My only thought was, oh, maybe I can find somebody who took back an owner financed note and is tired of collecting and wants to sell it for, a 10% discount or something. And still, that's like paying almost full price. It's like buying real estate. You got to put out a lot of money to buy a rehab property, and then to put money into fixing it up, and then up in the market, and then try to sell it, and hope that you get your money back soon enough. And if you took out a hard money loan, just think of all that interest you're paying and points you paid to borrow the money.
Sure. Yeah, the discounts are huge, and it really is. I'm sure a lot of people on this that are going to take our program are going to have a hard time at first looking at the numbers and saying, "Wow, I'm buying $100,000 worth of debt for $12,000. Is that possible? How can that be? How can that be? And will this borrower ever can start making payments?" And yes, the answer is yes, they will. And so it's going to be a learning experience in itself, just trying to get past some of the thought processes that you have ingrained into your brain. So that's going to be part of our job, is to get you away from that and let you look at not only the note business, but just about every around every corner. Is there some type of deal and some type of discount that you can get for yourself? And I find myself looking for discounts everywhere now, whether I'm buying a car, I'm buying anything, a house, an appliance. How can I apply my note education discount to whatever I'm purchasing? And it's very possible, and I do. And um, it becomes habit forming after you go through a couple months of this process of us talking about the discounted notes that we're receiving and we're able to look at and we're able to purchase. It's going to be a part of your life for the rest of your life, not just in a note business, but in life. So these are very interesting things that we're going to be discussing over the next 9 months. Okay,
Cash is
so
king.
yeah, well, especially when it's cash that's going to be coming in and it hasn't even come in yet. It's cash that you can look forward to. So what I'd like everybody to do right now is, where does your current income come from at the moment? It, mine comes in from the income that I get on notes. Mine comes in from the income that I get from note brokering. Mine comes in from the rentals that I do own. And I also have a couple of businesses. I have a property management company, and I have multiple places where cash comes in, so that if any one area dries up, I still have cash coming in through the other. My my personal objective is to have so many performing notes in my portfolio that I don't have to worry about brokering anymore. I don't have to worry about property management company. I don't have to worry about my rentals. That is my personal goal. And I'd like other people to, everyone on this call, to go ahead and type in the question box, in the panel, in the control panel, of where you're currently making money. And I'd like to just touch on a few points. I'll keep it anonymous so that we don't discuss anyone personally. But I'm just curious where people are earning money today. And I'm sure that there are, let's see what we have. Okay, full-time job, 2 rental properties and 1 performing note. That's great. That's great. I'd like to eliminate one that full-time job and get some more performing notes into this person's portfolio. I think that would be awesome. Okay, I see another person W-2, rentals, and notes. Great. One is corrections officer. Okay. Well, we need to add some notes to that. Okay, we have someone else who has their own business. Great. Wholesaling, rental properties, nutrition business, and wife's job. That's great. So while I see some other people are still typing in, someone just bought 7 non-performing notes in July, so that's great. We can help you with those notes and get some income flowing from those things as quickly as possible. So again, I appreciate everybody typing in. I see a few more are typing in, but what we'd like to do is we really want to help you acquire income generating assets. What I mean by that is assets that are going to generate income with generating headaches. And we've discussed rental properties already. I see a lot of people have rental properties in their portfolio, and that's great. But we like to take out some of the liability that goes along with owning rental properties. Talking mainly about insurance liabilities and some of the actual stress that goes along with owning rental properties. And most of them revolve around maintenance of the property, maintenance of the tenants, maintenance of all of the things that can go wrong in a rental property. So we'd like to see as many of you that are going to take this program with us to acquire income generating assets. Like I said earlier, my goal is to have so many income generating assets that I don't have to be anywhere. I can do what I want, I can live where I want, and I can run my business from anywhere. But we do need to go back to some of that stuff before about keeping an open mind. I know that a lot of people that are willing to take this program want to invest in their own backyard. And we need to have you have an open mind about investing nationwide because that is really where the money is to be made. It's learning in areas, learning another area, learning another area, areas that you should stay away from, areas that you should get into. That's going to be part of our due diligence process. Training you folks is to get out of your own backyard and get out into the country that we live in and get some assets nationwide. So by doing that, you'll be able to acquire a lot more assets a lot more quickly because it's just such a spread out business. As far as acquiring other income from this business besides actually assets, there are many ways to get involved in a note business, as we're going to go through in the 14 modules, well, the 13 modules that are going to be left. And we're going to review those towards the end of this program, the remaining modules. But I want everyone to just really think where their future income will be generated. And hopefully it's in a note business. And Kevin, what do you think about the nationwide investing as opposed to backyard investing?
Yeah, that was a new one for me that I could buy a note. In fact, my first note was on the other side of the country from where I am, and that I could reach out and work with that person and get them making payments to me. That was huge because if you think about it, the Bank of America, the Wells Fargo's, the Citibanks, Chase, they make hundreds of thousands of loans every year to people who are buying houses or refinancing. And yes, in the beginning they have somebody an appraiser go out and look at the house to make sure that it's, worth the amount of money that they're going to be loaning. But after that, there's nobody going out there inspecting or living across the street or down the street or keeping tabs in the borrower physically. They're managing all that remotely, and that's huge that you can be able to pick up these assets that are located anywhere in the country, not necessarily in your backyard. In fact, it might be good that they're not in your backyard. That way you don't, go over and look at it and worry about it. If you're here like we are in New Jersey, you could buy notes that are in California, Washington, Nevada, Idaho, Texas, and just sit back and work them, get them performing, and collect the payments. And not ever visit the property. Maybe somebody sends you a couple of pictures and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that looks like a nice looking house. But that part is huge, that you do not have to physically be there to go touch the property, look at it. You can do all that remotely. And you can hire people to do things for you. Mike, you still there?
Oh yeah, sorry, I was on mute. Another thing that we really enjoy about the note business is being able to look at assets that are available. I see so many people that are in the wholesaling business, in the rehabbing business, going out, knocking on doors, sending out lead letters, really just knocking themselves out trying to find deals, trying to find one deal. Short sale, they find one deal, they try to close it. It takes 3 months, 4 months of effort to find out that there's a hitch somewhere. It's not going to be accepted, and that is frustrating. When we go ahead and look at notes, we look at sometimes hundreds, if not thousands, of notes that the banks are willing to sell, and all we need to do is make a determination on what the price is before we move forward. And I can promise you that we will be able to teach you what that price should be so that you will have the ability to make money. And if you can't get that deal for the right price, then it's time to move on. So, with
Speaking of short sales, I just wanted to add a little something here. I'm sure many of you out there who have tried to do short sales have been frustrated, faxing in your packages, trying to get the bank to agree to your price. What if you were the bank and somebody brought a short sale to you? How much different would that process be, or can be?
Yeah, Kevin, why don't we take a few minutes and actually just walk us through what you mean by being the bank, and because I remember that was a little confusing to me in the beginning. I'm like, well, do I really have the power to accept a short sale? How does that? Can you just give us some mechanics and from beginning to end on how something like that typically works?
Sure. Um, when you go get a mortgage on your house, you go down to your local bank or you go to Chase and you fill out all the paperwork and somebody approves it, you get the money to buy the property from the homeowner, you get the deed, and now you've got a mortgage and a promissory note that you're paying on. And who are you paying? The bank, whether that's Chase, JP Morgan, um, Citi, Wells, Fulton Bank, um, and any other credit unions. But now, when you acquire this note from the lender who wants to sell off this distressed asset, you are the bank now. You own that paper. You have the right to collect the payments that are due to you. And because of that, if the borrower wanted to sell the property, they just couldn't afford to make the payments, and they decided they wanted to sell it and they had a buyer who was willing to buy it, they would bring that short sale package to you. They would submit that offer to you because you're now the bank. You have the right to collect the payment because you bought that promissory note from the bank. Now you get to decide at what price you're willing to accept the short sale. And there's no committee to go through, no board of directors, no investor in some foreign land or security or whatever. You the individual, you are the one who makes the decision on at what price you're going to accept for a short sale and how fast you're going to accept it. That's huge. Not to mention the ability to collect the payments, because now you are the bank.
Perfect. Yeah, that is a very powerful position, and a very, at first, it may be a very intimidating position to some of you that have such a power over a borrower. But it's a power that will actually allow you to work some minor miracles to keep the borrower in their house, or to get them to the next place that they need to be. And it may not be living in that house. It may be that they need to move into a smaller house or a house that they can afford. But that is now in your ability to make that happen, to help that borrower out. And if it's a short sale that they need, then you control at what number that short sale is going to go through at as the note holder. Or if the short sale is even going to go through at all, because you have the ability to say, no, I'm not going to even come close to entertaining that offer. We need to be at X or Y. So note investing is a very powerful position because you take the position of the bank, and what you say goes. And it's, like you said, it's very powerful. So yeah, thanks for that, Kevin. It's sometimes it's a little confusing to figure out exactly where you are in the process as the bank. And what I'd like to do, let's see, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so Kevin, you can read tonight's summary, right? Is that up on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw someone had written in, is there only this one slide? Okay, so in summary, for this first portion of tonight's webinar, where do you want to be 9 months from now? That's a very important. What do you really want to get out of this program? Is really what should be on this slide. Where is it that you want to be? Do you want to own your own business as a broker, as a note investor, as a hedge fund manager, working notes? Where exactly do you want to be? And how, what would be the best path to get to that? The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. That's, a wise guy crack, but the next best time is now. There's no better time than the present to go ahead and get the ball rolling. Putting off things until tomorrow is very easy to do, but we feel that this is a real good time to get into this business. There's still plenty of product out there. There's still plenty of upside potential. I don't ever want to buy a note with the thought of buying it for equity or as an appreciation, property appreciation. We've all fallen into the appreciation trap back in 2002, 3, 4, and 5 with real estate housing, so we won't even use the A word. But prices do seem to be coming back, and that is very good for the note business. If we can still buy at huge discounts and get a little appreciation, we'll take it. So it's a very good time to do this. changing your reality. That is going to be a big portion of the context that we're going to provide everyone in this training program. The reality is exactly what you see it as. It's always been that way, whether or not you believe it or not. It still is your reality, and that's going to be something that's going to take a lot of practice from people, and we're going to help everyone with that along the way as well. Do you see yourself as an investor or do you see yourself as an employee? And we need you to get the mindset that as of tonight, you're an investor. That's my reality. I'm an investor first, and I'm doing my investing. And when you present yourself at the next RIA meeting, you need to have your elevator pitch say, I am an investor. Oh, what do you do? I raise capital. Oh, really? Raise capital for what? I purchase non performing notes and turn them into performing notes. Whatever your reality is in your mind is what's going to come out of your mouth, and that's how you need to present yourself, and that's what we're going to train you. How to be the reality, even though it's the reality for the future you and not the present you. By changing that couple of statements when you introduce yourself, it just molds you into being that. It's a little hard to explain, but you'll get it as we go through this program on this journey together to get you to the mindset that you will be what you want to be. And by getting into this program as well, you will have the ability to meet some people that you'd never have the opportunity to meet. That goes back, Kevin, to when you and I met. We were pretty much standing side by side at a RIA meeting. I would have never gotten the opportunity to meet you if it hadn't been for notes. And here we are 6 years later, still forming businesses together and sharing our note businesses. So I'm sure that you remember as well, Kevin, the people that were on that conference call that are still your friends to this day and will be for the rest of your life because we are all so like-minded. We spoke the same language. We had the same feelings. We were able to talk about money, money that we didn't have and money that we did have, and money that we could borrow off each other, and money that we could share, and we all had the same like-minded goals. That's huge. That goes such a long way when you're trying to accomplish something for the future. So that's what
Exactly.
yeah, that's definitely a huge one. And I'm not saying that the friends that everyone has right now are not really good friends, but if you want to bring your business friends in, I consider you, Kevin, my friend and my business friend. And we are able to talk business and make money through each other. We've made a lot of money off of each other over the last 6 years. And I expect that it's going to continue with our note business and our friendship. So that there's going to be that camaraderie there that you probably wouldn't be able to get on a just going out to a RIA meeting and hanging out with a couple of people. I found that to be very difficult. And with conference calls, you get a chance to know the person and an opportunity to hear their side of the story without being objective and without being subjective, and really knowing this person just by their conversation. That's been huge for us, and um, our 100% success ratio is definitely a must for us. Kevin, can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit about what you already talked about, in that um, you never know who's a note investor, who's in this business, and like you said, you could be standing right next to a person and not even know that they're, you know, a note investor or have notes for sale even, or could help you out with a problem that you have. It's probably like when you first got involved in real estate and suddenly your eyes were open to the number of people who were involved. Well, this is an even smaller group of individuals who were involved in the note business. And as you grow the network, you run into more people who are in the business that you would have never met outside of this business. So this 100% success ratio, we're here to help you with all of your deals. We will be encouraging you to buy deals during the program so that we can help you work out those deals so that you can be a success. Because there's nothing worse than buying a piece of real estate or even buying a note and kind of being left to hung out to dry, to speak, and not know what to do, and not know who to turn to, and maybe in some other places there were people that you turned to, but they really didn't give you the right information, so you weren't sure what to do, and you got discouraged, and you walked away. So we're here. We're going to see that you become successful, because your success is our success.
Yeah, well, I can guarantee everyone on this call that there will not be one person that will be left out hang out to dry, as you said, because it's just not going to happen on our program, on our watch. There will be times that people might get discouraged and find that this business is frustrating, whether they're trying to find banks that are willing to send them loans, or you're trying to raise capital and you just don't have enough of a track record, maybe. We're going to be able to help you through all of those issues. That's going to be key for us. There's not, Kevin and I had discussed sitting down and writing out a manual and pumping out some DVDs and say, here, run with this. And if you have any questions, go back to the DVDs and reread them and re-listen to them. That's not our style, and it's not going to be our way of education. Our way of education is the way that we learned it. There are so many people that are still in this business to this day that have gone on to be professional investors and started hedge funds from those webinars that we were on. And we are determined to make that happen again. And we won't give up. We won't let less than 100% actually take place. Our job at No Conference Education is to make you become better at acquiring assets that will make you richer faster. If we had to just sit there and put our paycheck in the bank and wait for the interest to accrue, it's going to take you a lot longer than if you were to take our course and listen to us and let us help you acquire assets that will make you richer faster. That's our goal. That is our main goal. And with our 100% success ratio that we're shooting for, there's a good chance that you're going to end up being very successful in this business. Kevin, what do you have to add with that?
Yeah, I was going to add that in general, the rule of 72 says that you double your money every 7 years if it's in the bank, earning a nominal rate of interest, whatever that may be. But just think about if you could double your money in 30 days, 60 days, 6 months, even 12 months. If you could double your money, you're way ahead of the game. And that doubling your money is, I'm not talking about, just like a huge amount of money, like $25,000, $50,000. Even if you bought a note for $5,000 and you received 10,000 back from the borrower because they paid you off, you doubled your money. That's a huge rate of return. Even if it took, you know, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months to get that, you're not going to double your money in the bank or anywhere else in that short period of time. Yeah, unless got a lucky stock tip and bought some IPO that came out and doubled or tripled in value and you sold it. Um, that's unusual. But doubling or tripling your money with a note, that's not unusual. I'd say that's more the norm.
It's more the typical, right? Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is how it works. Each module that we've just covered will be a live webinar held by Kevin and I. I have written down here 12 webinars, but it looks like it's more like 14. By the time we get done, it probably will be more like 15. We're not holding anything back for the next 14 webinars or modules. There's no upsell. There's nothing to be held back. There's going to be a question and answer session after each module and Q&A sessions following the modules that you'll be able to ask as many questions as you have to get you on the right track. The conference calls will be held by Kevin Cordell and myself, Mike Rosica, and occasionally guest speakers that we will have. Like I said, I'll have that attorney in here. If I see a need for other people, there's plenty of people in my network that have already expressed their interest in becoming part of this this wonderful training program. These are people that you just can't get a hold of just for the simple fact that you just don't know them. And that everyone is very excited about this no conference education that we're kicking off tonight. Okay, at the end of the 14 modules, we will offer 3 months of one-on-one phone consultation, whether you decide to call Kevin or myself, and we will pick up the phone. We want to make sure that you receive enough information to become successful with your deals. Whether you're trying to sell a deal, you're trying to get involved in a deal that you have no money with, you're taking a percentage down, you've got an investor that has some money that wants to partner up where they bring in the money, you bring in the expertise. We'll walk you through that. We'll walk you through whatever type of deal that you can arrange or that we can help you arrange. During those 3 months of one-on-one conversations, we will also be providing question and answer calls where we'll get together during the day or in the evening, whatever works out best for people, and we will just discuss people's deals. It's going to be an open session. There's not going to be any muting or unmuting unless there's just some background noise. It's going to be an open chat. Hey, I've got this deal in Pennsylvania. The attorney's giving me a hard time. What do I do? Okay, this is Kevin and I will walk you through exactly what you do. You have a question, we'll have an answer. If we don't have an answer, we will provide you an answer as soon as possible. We'll find out someone who does have the answer for you. So we hope that that's going to be enough support to make sure that you become successful with your deals. Okay, no conference education, how it works. The price for the complete package is $59.95, and that's soup to nuts, meaning that there's no upsell, there's no future, hey, you might want to buy this workbook. You need to get this. Let's take on a little more private education, for another $10,000. Absolutely not. $59.95 is going to be complete. You're going to be done. You're going to know as much as we do about the note business. That's the price for the package. We think that the $59.95, you should be able to recover that in this business in no time, and not a very large number for 9 months worth of training.
No, I think you covered that. Um, I mean, you can't be cheap on your education, especially when you're learning something from experts in the industry. Mike and I are going to share with you our experience of the last 6 years in the note business, everything that we've learned, everything that we know to help you become a success. And as I said, you should be able to recoup this in the first one or two deals that you do. You know, I've paid tens of thousands of dollars for other real estate training in the past, and because of that training, I got into the note business in a roundabout way, but it got me to where I am today.
I agree.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
So
education is an area you just can't go cheap on.
I agree. Yeah. If we were throwing you a workbook and some DVDs of us doing some pre-recorded stuff and say, okay, you're on your own, we'll allow 5 or 10 emails. Then I can see why, it might only be 2 or 3 thousand bucks, and off you go. Don't bother us. Don't call us. We'll call you. So that's our price. We feel it's a very fair figure, and it's very recoverable. Just like if you want to get in touch with us, please go ahead and shoot us an email at sales@noteconference.com. If you want to go ahead and sign up tonight, go to www.noteconference.com. There is a PayPal button on the home page. You can go ahead and click that and use PayPal. If you don't have a PayPal account, you can still go in there and just use your credit card and make the payment there. You'll see a spot in the PayPal account that says, do not have a PayPal account. And you can just go ahead and put in your credit card information there. Everything is secure. You can go ahead and mail your check payable to Note Conference Education. Send that over to our office at 1201 Springwood Avenue, Asbury Park, New Jersey, 07712. And we'll be looking forward to working with everyone that's on this call this evening. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate everyone taking the time out. We're very excited to launch this, and we look forward to working together with everyone to a successful future to you all. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Mike.